Thank you so much, Catherine. I'm so happy to be here. I'm really excited. And first of all, I would like to tell everyone that I'm Christina Cai, representing the Garden City, Singapore. I'm 21 years old and currently pursuing a diploma in dance at Lasalle College of the Arts. Outside of school, I'm actually a full time dancer, performer, and choreographer. My advocacy is to reduce plastic pollution because I believe that it does not just harm our marine life, but it's also accelerating climate change. And what pushes me to be an environmentalist was because of my parents, more of my mother, who is my eco angel. She has actually taught me all her simple environmental actions from home, which make me believe that the key to fighting climate change begins from home, where our love and care for the environment begins. And even though despite the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm really happy that the Miss Earth pageant is going on this year because it really shows everyone that, the environment doesn't stop. And we as environmentalists, eco ambassadors, we shouldn't stop our effort and continue to push forward to show everyone that, we need to love our earth because our earth is at stake and we must do all we can to give back what it has given us. Thank you.
How did COVID unfold in your country, and how did you react to it?
So it's so sad that I won't be able to receive you in Singapore this year, but I'm sure I'll be able to have you next year. So I'll just like to update everyone on the COVID-19 situation in my country. My country has been tackling the situation quite well despite a few obstacles, and currently we've been having lesser and lesser new cases with a total of 31 as of yesterday, and the active cases are only 368. And we've been recovering very well with only 27 fatalities, with it's only like 0.1% of the mortality rate against the whole world. And currently we're not in lockdown anymore. Activities has gotten back on. Funerals, marriage, and sports activities are starting to go back into system where we're all allowed to go explore and even rediscover what we have to offer in Singapore. And now that the whole situation in Singapore has become better, we also relax our travel restrictions in Singapore. So we hope that our tourism in Singapore will get better. And other than that, I feel as something more personal to me, I feel I've definitely made use of this whole COVID-19 situation, especially during the lockdown. I think it was a really great time for me to work on myself and become a better person in general, because I've used this time to work on my fitness, to make sure that I have a better lifestyle in general, because I haven't really got much sleep. That's such a weird thing to share, but I've been so busy before the COVID-19, and despite COVID-19 giving a halt to activities, I was able to tune in back to my own body and regain better health, mental health, and also physical health. So I feel many Singaporeans definitely benefit some way or another in Singapore, and I'm sure that once the whole world gets better, we'll be able to see each other in Singapore and any part of the world.
What are the practices related to environment in your country and related to COVID also that you can impart to everyone else around the world to do as well?
Thank you for the question. I think one main important part that our government have done really well in our environment, which I feel everyone can learn from, is to input more eco-friendly architectures in our environment. So many of our architectures are being planned carefully to think how we can sustain and to not cause harm while we try to develop urbanly. And I think that's really important. And for everyone else who in Singapore are working on, is definitely to work towards a zero waste nation. And we've been coming up with various activities, and despite the COVID-19, people are still heading out to do beach cleanup, which has been very active on despite the COVID-19 situation. And that's definitely something that it has also helped in the environment, because despite the COVID-19 where everything came to a stop and we had less air pollution and there were less cars on the road, but people are not disposing their PPEs properly, where I really witnessed a lot of disposable masks being hung on trees or even like thrown on the floor on streets and parks. So I feel that despite they may not be a large group as compared to the people working to save the environment. There are still a lot of people who are still maybe are not aware of their actions, but I'm sure that with more initiative and projects, our country is actually doing very well and making sure that we are actually involving environmental action into our lifestyle. And I hope that through our eco-friendly architectures, the way that we plan our stuff is something that other countries can think about too.
Despite all the restrictions concerning the COVID-19 pandemic, how do you manage to carry out your eco projects with your community? So, we've seen a glimpse of this through your eco activities on the Miss Earth page, but can you elaborate on it more, starting with Christina?
I feel that despite the whole COVID-19 restricting gatherings, I think everyone is very careful to making sure that we stay safe, ensuring there's a social distance between people when I organize my little activities, even though it's quite sad at times where most of our activities could only be constrained into a number of 5 in a group. And it was definitely difficult when I wanted to organize beach cleanups because currently in Singapore, we are suffering a monsoon season where there's a southwest wind where most of the trash are being washed up to our shores. And what I wanted to do was to help clean up the beaches, because I feel that even though beach cleanup may not exactly tackle the problem of plastic pollution, but we couldn't turn a blind eye when we see trash in our beautiful nature. So I had to really organize a lot more and to be more active. Instead of doing it twice a week, I have to gather more people in my community. And I was also added into a group chat where it's really sweet, the group chat where many people, there were I think it was a few thousand people in the group chat, and I was so impressed that everyone was so happy to volunteer their time to help make our environmental better. And on top of that, I also make sure that on I've gathered my friends and my family, because I feel that it's better for me to, especially now, to ensure that we don't spread the COVID further and be more careful. So most of the time I spend more effort with my family and friends, so I ensure that I don't spread the possible disease to more people. Though for sure that we still want to make sure that we are spreading more effort in our community. So there are times where it's kind of sad where we're all out for our beach cleanup and we can see like groups of 5 along the beach, and then we're just like, hello, like we can't go up to them and actually share or even to interact. So that's definitely sad that how like there are lesser in some sense of human interaction, but it's also great to see that despite the whole COVID-19, people are still putting 100%, 110% into ensuring the environment is better.
What advice would you give to your governments, especially with the health sector, when it comes to COVID-19, with the main fact that children and the elderly are most prone to get the virus? So, what advice would you give to the health sectors of your government? Can we start with Christina?
One thing that I would like to advise my government, for sure that my government actually have done a really good job in and ensuring everyone is doing surviving and pushing through this COVID-19 situation. But on top of that, I feel that there are a lot of mistakes that we have done as a whole, and before we even push on to tackle the entire problem, I would like to advise my government to actually look back. I feel that we should stop and to take a look back at what measures that we have done and how else we can make it better. Because I'm sure that when the first lockdown was implemented, many people's mental health was affected, and there was actually a spike in family violence as well as anxiety issues, depression. And that's something that I feel that we should have taken more consideration into if any case of like serious cases were to happen again in Singapore. So that's definitely an advice that I would tell my government to actually stop and take a look back at how we can become a make a bit better measures for our country.
Do you think it's easier to do a virtual pageant or an actual pageant?
I feel that on top of being doing a virtual pageant, I feel it's really great that we're actually considering doing this virtually, because other than going overseas, if let's say this year were to go on, we would have went to Philippines and to see the beauty of what Philippines to offer. But whereas this year we get to really show what our country has to offer, and through the different medias, the different video, but really to encompass what is truly to be for me as a true Singaporean to everyone in the world. And I feel that despite I'm sure there's a lot of admin logistic problems that the organization would definitely face. But I feel that having a virtual pageant, I'm actually able to stay close with my family. And if I were to need any emotional help or physical help, I have my friends, my family, my everyone is here with me, and it's really great to go on this pageant with them around me physically, or rather than through maybe WhatsApp or email or even like live chat. And so I'm really grateful that we decide to push on with this virtual pageant.
How have you all been maintaining that mental stability or just trying to keep that positivity within yourselves throughout this pandemic? Can we start with
Christina.
Christina?
For me, I definitely went out to the nature a lot, and I've also been building more good habits in some sense. I used to stay up late very often, but now that I've actually cultivate more good habits into my lifestyle, which actually helped me into having a better mental health. Now I've been waking up more early, and I go out for a jog or cycle. I've also overcome my fear of cycling, and it's really great. And as a dancer, now I've this practice that I used to always do, which I call it dance of the day. It's actually to make me more in tune with my body. And now that we're getting back into the nature, I'm actually putting this practice into nature, and to be not just in tune with my body, which is one of our homes, but also to be in tune with my second home, which is the nature around us. And it's been really great. And my family, being very close to my family once again, be able to connect with them very easily, now that everyone is at home, definitely helped me into having a better mental health. Thank you.
My question is, for example, tomorrow somebody will tell you that things will be back to the old normal. Tomorrow, what is the first thing that you will do today?
This is really simple. This is something that I really want to do. And it's to go out there and to give people a hug. Now that we haven't really get close with people, there's a loss of human touch. And as a hugger, as someone who loves to be around people, this is really something that I miss doing. I miss the warmth of human. Not that I never met humans, but I mean I have my family around. But I really miss meeting people, and where people are not afraid for me. I'm not afraid of like the distance that we have to ensure that we have, and like, I just want to get close to them, to really physically touch them, to feel them, and that's something I've also missed a lot, because I used to work at volunteer at elderly centers, and now that because of the COVID, the elderly centers have been closed for the moment. Have been closed for visitors, and I really miss to go down there to actually interact with them. And I really miss being around people so much. So I just want to hug someone right now.
What message would you give to a child right now who is in fear because of the COVID-19 pandemic?
I would definitely tell them that I have this message that I've been keeping close to my heart. And one thing that I would tell them, that message would be together we can. Because many people have been either losing faith or not too sure how we're going to go forth with this whole situation. And this together we can is something that I believe that, it's really strong to people. And I want to tell the kids that, regardless of what happened, as long we're together, I'm sure that we'll still be able to move forward, and with whatever dreams that you have, especially for someone who is in the arts like me. I've been battling the whole mindset that, especially in Singapore, where arts are not conventional, arts is not practical. And I want to tell them that as long we're together, well, you can do whatever you want, because you yourself, you're your own queen, you're your own superhero. So be just go out there and try whatever you want to do, explore anything, because together we can do this.